right, we are now joined by winner of tonight's Credit One NASCAR AMEX Credit Card 300, Austin Hill, driver of the number 21 Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet. Austin, you're now clinched into the Champ 4. Why don't you talk us through those emotions?
Yeah, I mean, there was a ton of emotions as soon as the white flag flew, and I knew the race would be over, with a caution or anything like that. So the whole last lap just got really emotional. I've never really gotten emotional after winning a race and crying and all that, and it got to me pretty good. As soon as we got to the start-finish line, took the checkered flag, I kind of broke down pretty good just because all the blood, sweat, and tears that it takes to get to this point, and everyone that works extremely hard, everybody at RCR, ECR, this whole 21 team, they deserve it just as good as anybody else in the top 8 does. So for us to get the job done, not have to go worry about Martinsville, and we can just fully focus on Phoenix. We have 2 weeks to get prepared. It takes a lot of weight off our shoulders, and just so excited to get this win. I've ran well here in the past on the Xfinity side. I've won here in the truck side, so I knew that we could get it done. We just had to put the whole race together and make the right adjustments and do all the right things on the racetrack, and we were able to do that today.
All right, we are going to start questions with Jordan Bianchi.
Jordan Bianchi, the Athletic. You were running the middle to low line today, right? Why? That's really not the preferred line here typically. Why do you think that was your line, and why did it kind of evolve throughout the race where other drivers were running it as well?
Yeah, I won a truck race here in 2019 running the bottom and running like the middle lane. And I feel like just my driving style, the way I approach this racetrack and a lot of other racetracks where you do run the wall, I have a little different philosophy behind it and how to get around the bottom, and I was able to apply that today. The car was free enough for me to where it was not too free, but it was free enough to where I could carry a lot of roll speed running the bottom and not give up too much on exits. So it didn't seem like there were some guys that could run the top pretty well, but for the majority of the race, it just didn't look like anybody really had that top rolling just dominantly, right? Like it wasn't like somebody was just ripping the boards and was just laying down some really fast laps. I could just shade a little off the wall in 3 and 4 and be like a half car length down, and I had grip there for some reason. And then 1 and 2, I was kind of running an awkward line, like I would just drive in straight and just slide up the track, and you would think that would kill your tires, but it really wasn't hurting my tires any. We were the better than anybody on the long run. So short run speed, I just had to be nice to the car, not slide the right front or right rear too much. Short run speed could have been a little bit better, but long run speed was excellent all day. So, yeah, to your question, as far as how I was able to run that line and get away with it, I don't really know why. If we came back here and it's in the middle of the day and it's, say, 95 degrees, I don't know if I can do that same line and get away with it. You might have to be running the wall. But it just worked really well for me. I was able to run really low and kind of stay out of the rubber a lot of the times, and that was kind of benefiting me.
Let's go to Joseph.
Joseph Igo, the racing experts. Austin, we saw it with a lot of guys getting out of the car, and we can kind of hear it in your voice as well. Just talk about how physically demanding this racetrack is and just how mentally demanding it is as well, given just tough place to race.
Yeah, it's definitely physically demanding. My voice is probably hoarse right now just because of all the screaming and yelling after the race, but I can tell that physically I'm a little drained. I think mentally is probably more so than physically, just because mentally you have to hit your marks so precise here. You slip up or you hit the seam the wrong way or you go across the seam the wrong way, it just kills your lap time. You'll get really loose or you might slide the front end. So you have to hit your marks and be very precise of how you put your car in certain spots and certain predicaments, and it just takes full focus. And so I think more so than anything, when I lay my head down tonight, I'm going to be more mentally drained than anything.
Let's go to Jared and then Bob.
Jared Haas with FrenchStretch.com. First, take us through that pit stop where you were sliding through the tires. Were you sliding your tires? Were you concerned that you were going to speed on pit road, or no?
It was close. I didn't think that I sped, but I knew that I was right at the limit because we run 2 red lights and I was like right at the line. I was like 3 red and got it down to where it was, just below the 2 red right when I got to the line. I had practiced that some this week leading into this weekend on like where my brake marker was going to be. And I felt like I hit my brake marker right, but when I got down to the transitioning where it gets to the flat, it was just no grip there. Like I just started sliding. I actually thought I was going to pull like a Larson and hit the barriers at first, but I was able to like get off the brake pedal and go back to it and get enough to the left to where that didn't happen. And I knew it was going to be close, but I knew that I had to push all I could to get into the braking zone there, coming to pit road, because I needed to gain as much as I possibly could on the 00. I knew our pit crew was going to do a heck of a job on the pit stop. It seemed like we gained maybe a little bit there on the 00 there, and then when we pulled back off pit road, I just had to manage my tires. I needed to push hard to stay with them, but I needed to stay right underneath that right front and right rear and not burn it up too early, and we were able to do that.
I believe this is your first Championship 4 appearance. You've been close quite a few times. What do you credit for finally advancing to that Championship 4?
I just think the resilience and everything that's put into RCR and ECR engines. I didn't really come with a different mindset this playoffs than I have in the past with all the truck days and last year and the year before. I always come with the same mindset of just do the best we can, maximize the stages, get all the stage points, and just hope we're there at the end to try to win the race. And I will say the last 15, 20 laps, it was weighing on me like pretty hard. Like, man, if I get to the 00 and I win this race, I'm going to be locked into the Final Four. And that made me start pushing a little too hard at times. I could tell that I was starting to hurt the right rear a little bit, and I had to just settle down. My spotter was staying on me about just making sure I hit my marks and everything. And once I settled down, I started going faster again, ran the 00 down, and I was very, very, very surprised that he went to the bottom like he did. And he didn't try that slider line like I've been doing all night long. It allowed me to get to his right rear, and then it was kind of game over from there.
Let's go to Bob.
Bob Pockris, Fox Sports. Earlier today you were 8 points below the cut line. Now you're in the Champ 4. What's the difference?
Yeah, I mean, like I said just a second ago, I really haven't came into these playoffs with any different approach. Coming into the race today, I wasn't even really thinking about us being 8 points back. Heck, I didn't even know what I was after Vegas until like middle of the week on being the 8 points back, because I just wasn't paying attention to it. And coming into this race weekend, I kind of just put my head down, did the same old stuff that I always do, and just focused really hard. And we unloaded with a decent car. I didn't know if we had a winning car. We struggled in practice a little bit. I didn't think we were the greatest. I thought we were maybe a top 10 car. And then qualifying didn't go very well. And then whatever we did from qualifying to when the race started, or how the rubber was getting laid down from practice and for the cup cars, and then the race in the trucks today, it just really, our car liked it a lot. And as soon as the green flag dropped, I knew we were going to have a car that was capable of at least contending for a win. I didn't know if we were going to win the race, but I knew that we were going to have a shot at it. And yeah, I mean, it was one of those races where a long run mattered, and we were really good on the long run. If it would have been one of those races where you have a late race caution, you have a 10-lap shootout, I don't know if we'd be sitting here talking to you guys, but, having that long run, that just really played into our favor.
Do we have any other questions for Austin? Let's go back to Bob.
I mean, with these playoffs and the uncertainty, was there any part of you was like, I'm going to end up having 3 wins as much as potentially anybody else and not make the final?
Say that again.
Like, were you kind of had you resigned yourself? I don't want to say resigned yourself to the fact, but had you come to like the realization, like I could have potentially as many wins as anybody else and still not make the final?
Yeah. That happened to us obviously last year, where we had 4 wins on the season and we missed it by like 2 points or whatever. So. When AJ won last week, it was awesome to see an Alliance car win the race, and not somebody else or not some other manufacturer. Chevy was in victory lane, but at the same token, he was just good enough, all year long to be in that top 8. And when he won the race, I'm like, well, there's one guy that was below the cutoff line that got in, and I knew that kind of made our job a little harder. So we came, today we were like, look, all we got to do is go win the race. Easier said than done, though. So we were able to get it done, though. We just, the car drove just like I wanted it to. The way that I approached the race and the lines that I was running and all, I had this in my mind. I had to go rip the fence to make time, and I found out really early in the run I didn't have to make lap time, and I just stuck to that all day. Was kind of married to a certain line, and it just paid off.
Let's go to Lee.
Lee Spencer, Series X of NASCAR Radio and CatchFriends.com. I'm curious where you're running, because you really seem to make up time on the bottom. Was that more, did that put more wear on the tires down there as opposed to running the top where you can just kind of glide off?
I don't necessarily think so. I have this theory, I don't know if it's right or wrong, that if you're running the bottom, you're using the right front tire more, and if you're running the top, you're using the right rear tire more. I was loose all day, so I needed to use the right front tire more, because if I ran the top, I felt like I was going to be looser as the run went, and my long run speed wasn't going to be as good. So with me being on the free side already, I'm like, well, I'm going to drive in the corner and just kind of load the right front tire. Not really slide it, but just kind of load it and drive into the right front tire. And doing that was just saving the life of the right rear, and it wasn't really hurting the right front, just because I guess I was loose enough that it wasn't hurting the right front. So don't know if that's right or not, but that's my theory on it, and it worked out.
Any final questions? All right, thank you and congratulations.
Yeah, thanks guys, appreciate it.